Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Time now is 8:42. It hasn't happened yet, but pretty soon WACH FOX is putting on the South Carolina Veterans Expo. The expo is a way to connect and honor South Carolina veterans. According to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, our state ranks number 16 in total veteran population. We have nearly 387,000 veterans living in the Palmetto State. Now, we want you to join us on Saturday, May 9th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds for our expo. There will be plenty of resources for vets and their families. The guest speaker will be Kevin Schwado, the Executive Director of the South Carolina DMV. He previously served as the Deputy Commanding General at Fort Jackson. The expo is presented by the Jeffcoat firm. And in preparation for this event, WACH FOX is highlighting some veterans across the state. Joining us now, no stranger to the show, Commander Tommy Odes, the commander of the South Carolina Combat Veterans Group. Commander, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here, sir. It's always good to see you and to hear your story. Commander, for those who don't know, did you always want to be a soldier? When did you know the military was for you?
Well, I was drafted, really, when I was 19 years old. But when I was a little kid, we played Army all the time. My daddy was in the military, and so I always honored military people. So as a child, I wanted to be a soldier, but when the draft came along, I didn't want to be a soldier.
but the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. I'm glad that I did serve, though. I'm very happy, proud to serve.
You were a Vietnam veteran. Take us back to that assignment. What was that like?
Well, at the time, it was the most horrible thing in my life. I look back and think it was, now I look at it as a blessing because I had directed my life. But at that time, I was young and I was full of good times and everything, and I wanted to stay home with my family. And it was not something I wanted to do. I had lost quite a few of my friends had suffered disabilities and lost their lives in Vietnam, even before I went in the military. And so anyway, going in and serving at the time was really difficult and hard. Like I said, I didn't want to go, but I am so grateful that God allowed me to serve and return home. I am, because I didn't know my path was being directed from, that was the beginning. I've always heard from my mother that it's going to be rough going within life, but it could be worthwhile at the end. And so I see that was the case. What
did you learn as you were in the military about yourself and fighting for the country?
Well, at the time I didn't know I was learning this. I was learning to be disciplined, leadership skills, and how to be a part of a team. And it expanded my relationship with other people outside of my race. I was raised up in a segregated neighborhood, and in the military, it became integrated, so I got the opportunity to spend time with people of different races and that sort of thing. And it was an eye-opening experience for me. It taught me that we were all equal and that we needed each other, especially being a combat veteran and being in combat. You had to depend on those guys around you, and we were a close-knit body of people, and we were family, and so it was everything.
Speaking about helping people, you know, years later, Commander, you are now over the commander of the South Carolina Combat Veterans Group.
Sir.
What exactly is it that the group does for those who may not understand?
Well, let me tell you, the group started at the VA hospital as a peer-to-peer group for veterans with combat PTSD from Vietnam. And when I went into that group, I went in there with the intentions of just learning some things and trying to get some help for myself. Not realizing the severity of combat PTSD. I was employed at the American Red Cross, and I had a good life, and I thought I was doing well, but I had some anger issues, some issues that I didn't realize how it was impacting my family and my friends and people around me. And when I started getting that treatment at the VA hospital, I started learning a lot of things about myself and about other veterans. And what I saw was that we're getting this training and teaching here in the hospital. It's about 400 of us here, but it's thousands of them outside the hospital. So we need to go out and find those guys and bring them in and let them get what we're getting. And so that's how I started out, wanting to help others get what I was getting. And what I was getting understanding, education, and training, and teaching how to survive and how to live after the military, after learning how to kill. I had to learn how to live again.
And so you are also, helping, the group is helping a lot of veterans now. We're talking about therapy, different things that the group is offering.
Right, we're trying to, what we do is try to help them to have a better life. Transitioning from military back into civilian life is very difficult. It's not an easy process. It took me years. I went through my first marriage. I was married like before I got a divorce. There was things that was happening that I didn't have any understanding of why it was happening. And I didn't know how to handle the situation, so I ended up in a divorce. And then, but I learned from that. And I learned what was happening to me was happening with other veterans. And it was having an impact on their families. And being a part of that therapy group at the VA hospital, I noticed how when we would come together, we would all enjoy each other, have a happy, good time. We would receive medication from the VA so to help us with our depression, our stress, our anxieties, and all that stuff. And it was helping me, but it won't help my family.
Wow.
And so I said, well, this is good, but to be healed, the VA can't heal you. Only God can heal you.
Wow.
But my family was suffering. And what we decided to do was open the group up, but we couldn't open it up at the hospital. They wouldn't allow it. So we went out in the community. We partnered with the Golden Corral and restaurant, and they allowed us to come in on weekdays and bring veterans in, because it's located right between Fort Jackson and the VA hospital. A lot of veterans be in the area. So we draw veterans in, and then we would have therapy. We had holistic therapy.
A lot of good stuff there, Commander.
Yes.
Tommy O's, thank you so much. Of course, we're going to have to bring you back on the show again, folks. The South Carolina WACH FOX Veterans Expo taking place Saturday, May the 9th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds at 11 a.m. We'll be back after this with a look at your forecast.